Hey everyone, get ready for a tour of hotels that went from booming to bankrupt. We're checking into the Hotel Hell's Hall of Fame to show you the top inns that fell off the map. These are the real stories of hotels that promised luxury but ended up in loss. Stay tuned to see how they went from full bookings to empty halls. Let's take a trip to Southbridge, Massachusetts, where the Vienna Inn once promised a taste of Austria. Jonathan and Lisa Cratch had big dreams for their hotel, but the locals just weren't coming. Strange rumors didn't help either, with gossip about the inn being a secret hotspot for wild parties. In reality, the most exciting thing in the basement was a collection of expensive wines. The Cratch's personal problems didn't stay behind closed doors. Their arguments were as public as the dining area, making meals uncomfortable for guests. Lisa's habit of asking diners about their personal lives didn't sit well with anyone. It was clear the Vienna Inn was struggling not just with its image, but with giving guests a good time. When Chef Gordon Ramsay stepped in, he was met with chaos. The kitchen was a mess, with food mishandled and left out for hours. The decor was just as confusing, with a violin that once belonged to someone long gone sitting on a dining table. It was more creepy than cozy. Ramsay gave it his all, but sometimes things are too far gone. A fire later broke out, causing damage the Cratchs couldn't afford to fix. The inn that once dreamed of being a little piece of Austria in Massachusetts had to close its doors, ending up sold for a fraction of its worth. In Longview, Washington, the Monticello Hotel was more than just a place to stay. It was a piece of history. But when Philip Lovingfoss took over, the hotel's glory days started to fade. The place was losing big money every month, and Lovingfoss's fancy lifestyle didn't help. He lived it up while the hotel's bank account dried up. The problems didn't stop with the cash. Guests were often stuck in the North Wing, a second-rate motel that didn't match up to the main hotel's charm. This left many visitors unhappy. The workers, too, felt the pinch. They were overworked, underpaid, and their pockets were as empty as the hotel's promises. When Chef Ramsay stepped into the Monticello, he was met with a mess. The motel next door was a letdown. And the food? It was all quick, frozen fixes, not the fresh meals you'd expect. Ramsay tried to turn things around, and for a short while, it seemed to work. But good times didn't last at the Monticello. Despite a brief uptick after Ramsay's visit, the hotel couldn't shake off its troubles. Before long, it was up for sale, and Lovingfoss's dream was over. The Monticello Hotel, once the pride of Longview, ended up just another closed-down building with a story to tell. Windsor, Vermont was home to the Juniper Hill Inn, a place that looked like a postcard on the outside but was a storm of trouble on the inside. Owners Robert Dean Dew and Ari Nicky were drowning in debt, their bank accounts as empty as their rooms. They charged a small fortune per night, but few guests thought it was worth it. The staff at Juniper Hill Inn felt the sting of the owner's bad choices. Paychecks were late or missing, and tips. Those went straight into the owner's pockets. It was a tough place to work, with respect as scarce as a full tip jar. Chef Ramsay couldn't believe his eyes when he saw the state of things. The kitchen was a disaster, the menu was a mystery, and the owners seemed to care more about their RV than the guests' comfort. The inn was falling apart, and the owners were too busy living the high life to notice. After the show, things at Juniper Hill Inn didn't get much better. Staff left, the management didn't change, and the debt just kept growing. It wasn't long before the doors closed for good, and the inn story seemed to end. But then new owners stepped in. They saw past the mess and the debt, and they had a vision. They bought the place, rolled up their sleeves, and got to work. The old inn got a new life and a new name, Windsor Mansion Inn. Now it's a place people rave about, a real success story. Wrapping up our journey through these hotel nightmares, it's clear that mismanagement and neglect were the villains in each story. Hotel Hell wasn't just a show. It was a lesson in hospitality. It taught us that happy customers and respected staff are the backbone of any hotel's success. So where are these hotels now? Vienna Inn, Monticello, and Juniper Hill all faced their demons. Some closed, some sold, but they all left a mark on their communities. And in the case of Juniper Hill, it found the second life as the Windsor Mansion Inn, proving there's always hope for a comeback. These tales are more than just TV drama. They're real-life lessons for anyone in the business of welcoming guests. So what do you think? Hit the comments with your take, and don't forget to like and subscribe.